The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
No, I'm pissed. I don't even want to be here anymore.
Is that how we're starting this?
Well, not now.
Why not? Go ahead.
I did.
You didn't even welcome the listeners. You didn't welcome.
Fuck the
guests.
listeners.
You didn't do any of that.
Anyways.
Are you gonna introduce our guest?
What's fucks up, Buttercups? This is fucking Table Talk. I'm Jeremy. One of those fuckers over there is Jake, and then we got Jesse back.
Good to be back.
Jeremy, what are we talking about tonight?
Apparently,
UFOs.
Man, this is great. I love just 10 seconds of fucking silence.
I can hear your blood pressure going higher and higher.
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jake.
Do you want a flashback to last week when we had an hour of silence out of you?
Listen. I was not mentally here.
You're not mentally here now either.
Yes, yes, but no. I'm just more pissed off right now, so.
I don't know why you're so mad.
Because I have bought like $600 worth of shit, and none of my shit is here. That's why I'm pissed.
$600 on shit.
I fucking hate you both. Anyways,
I give you
UFOs.
shit for $5.
I hate you. Anyways, UFOs.
I don't have a good segue. Go ahead.
But you know UFOs have always been real, right? It stands for unidentified flying object. If I throw a dildo and hits you in the face before you know what it is, you got hit in the face by a UFO.
I like that.
I'm not wrong, though.
You're not wrong. No, you're correct.
If
You're
you
definitely not wrong.
if you don't identify it when it's flying, it's technically a UFO.
Do you believe in aliens?
No,
You don't believe in aliens?
I do. Especially with the fucking, Pentagon just released all those fucking videos.
They did. They formally announced that UFOs are real, I guess. I
They
mean,
live among us.
Wouldn't it be better to say that they just acknowledge those videos? Because those videos are old.
Yes,
They've
but
been released before.
well, yeah, they were released like last year.
I thought it was 2017.
Okay, 3 years ago, but still.
But like, even still, that's pretty fucking crazy that they're acknowledging officially that shit.
But I mean, just because it's a UFO does not mean it's an alien.
Well, no, I mean, obviously that's true. Did you know that they don't even classify them as UFOs anymore? They don't really call them that. It's UAP, I think. It's a unidentified aerial phenomena. Because apparently UFO is there's too much stigma.
Well, yeah, everybody compares a UFO to an alien, so.
Yeah.
I think I've already said more words than I have last week, so.
you did. You're doing good. I'm going to stick with alien.
For
Well,
what?
see, even that word's kind of misleading too. Alien just means it's not of what do you call it? Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. Let's see. Because I don't want to be called out on how I'm a dumbass. Belonging to a foreign country or nation. Well, let's look at others here. Let's see.
That's like,
A foreigner. Nope, that's for illegal alien. Oh, here we go. Hypothetical or fictional being from another world. Great conversation. Mr. Jacoby, so it was 3 videos, correct?
As far as I know, yes, sir.
And do you know what those videos are? Because I'm only extremely familiar with 2 of them.
Well, I'm extremely familiar with the one from 2004, and I think that was the one they were using on all of the news articles you saw, but I could be wrong on that.
Was that the gimbal, the Tic Tac? No.
Yeah, the Tic Tac shape I'm the most familiar with. That was the newer one than the 2004 one, so I take that back. I'm not most familiar with 2004. I think the Tic Tac one was like in the 10s, I believe, but don't quote me on that.
The gimbal video that they keep showing, like in the CNN, the BBC videos, that's the gimbal one, and that was from 2015.
Okay.
Like, I'm familiar with that one. I'm familiar with Tic Tac. I don't know about the other one, though. If you could enlighten me if you know.
Well, I don't know the one. I'm reading the article now. I do not know the one from 2015, except then the gimbal. But this article says that there was 2 taken. So is there like a part 2 to the gimbal video that I didn't know about? I'm not sure on that.
What do you think, Jeremy?
I'm just watching this clip real quick.
Of?
BBC. Yeah.
Looking up the wrong BBC.
Huh?
It's alright.
You're looking up the wrong BBC.
Shit.
He's got to add it to his collection.
I know. I don't know. That's fucking weird. I don't know really much about this, but yeah, that's
Which one are you looking at? Do you know?
No, I have no idea.
Is it? How do I explain this? Do you see clouds in the video?
Yeah. Then the other one,
Okay.
the other one that was grouped into it was one over water, I think.
Okay, so you're looking at the clouds, which I believe.
Right?
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have it pulled up right here and it says gimbal, so either this is a lie.
No, yeah, it's got to be a lie. I mean, we're not wrong. We're never wrong.
Well, no.
Fact check me if you think we're wrong, because we're not.
Well, okay, so Jeremy, you said you believe in aliens, correct?
Sure.
Okay. To what capacity? Like, okay, so if I ask you, what kind of alien is out there? Where are they? Where do they come from? What do they
Mars.
look like? What are you gonna say? And it's okay if you say, "Well, I don't fucking know."
No, I really don't know. I believe there's something else out there, but I don't know where they come from.
What about you, Jake?
Yeah, I 100% believe that they're from somewhere, and I guess I don't know. I get a little more in depth. I don't know if they. I don't think they're from within our galaxy, but I think they're from within like a very, very close galaxy, like maybe a neighboring galaxy. I don't think there's any science to back that at all, but I also don't think there's a whole lot of science, at least none that I've read, to tell me that that's just a bullshit statement either. I don't think they really know, so I feel like
I don't believe that there's like objective science to say yes or no.
right.
But I believe that there is a difference between evidence and science. There's definitely evidence.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The possibility that we're not alone. So, like, you look at how many. Let's see, Jeremy. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How many planets do you think that there is in the known universe?
Yes.
Just take a guess. How many do you think that there is?
Yes. Oh, you actually want me to give a number?
Not enough.
I don't fucking know, man. 9,300,805.
Negative. According to modern day astrophysics and doing the math, it is believed that currently in the known universe, because we all know there's an objective science that tells us that the universe is constantly expanding. So like that's known. But to the known universe right now, there is 700 quintillion. You might want to look that up. Quintillion planets in the known universe.
That's a lot of zeros.
I actually have no idea how many zeros that is.
Quintillion, that's above trillion. It's one above trillion, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. So it's a stupid amount of zeros. And so okay, so you look at that number and you go, "Oh, well, there's got to be like a fucking like trillion planets that are inhabitable." But that may not be true. Not to say that planet Earth is the only inhabitable planet, because we also know that that's not true, because there is plenty of planets that NASA has discovered, scientists have looked at, that totally could be or could have been inhabitable at one point in time. But it's like, with that many out there, you would have to be 100% closed-minded to believe that there's not even a possibility.
Yeah, I definitely believe there's other shit out there. Will we ever find it? Definitely not in our lifetime.
But do they find us?
No.
So, like, for probably 80% of my years, I didn't believe in aliens. Mainly because I was programmed to think that it was impossible. I grew up in an extremely religious setting.
You don't say.
Yeah, no way. So it was, you weren't even allowed to talk about aliens in the household. It just, we weren't, they didn't exist. It was all nonsense. Mind you, these are the same people that think that global warming is fake. These are the same people that think that science is not real. So, things like that. But when you actually take a look at science and you have like an objective view on everything, then you could clearly see that it's totally possible that there's other life out there. Intelligent life.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm extremely open-minded. I don't like saying like, oh, fuck yeah, there's aliens and they're everywhere. They've been visited. They're up our ass. Like, no. Because
hopefully. What?
There's no actual objective, like, science to back that up. All there is just personal truth, so people's own personal experiences, and then there's evidence that would just suggest, like, hey, we should probably just look into this, because there's no way that we should say no, it could never happen, or no, it's not real. I think it's definitely important to keep an open mind to stuff like aliens.
Literally every time someone says aliens, I just picture the guy from Ancient Aliens going, aliens! Like the meme. Every time.
Yeah, you gotta love History Channel. That is a very interesting show, though. I don't want to say interesting. I want to say entertaining. It's a very entertaining show. So, like, I totally believe that there's a possibility of aliens, but I 100% don't believe that the aliens helped us build the pyramids. I just don't believe it. Because I don't need aliens to believe that human beings can do something remarkable.
Well,
I feel like we can do that all on our own.
Sometimes.
Well, maybe not you. I don't know. Do you think you could build a pyramid? Because I can't.
Sure.
But I mean, human species, when there's a will, there's a way. We make it happen.
Especially with alien help.
But I totally believe that there's gotta be something else out there.
Yeah, they live among us.
See, oh man. What are you talking, like lizard people, fucking Mark Zuckerberg? What are you talking about? Do we have Alex Jones on the podcast right now? Is that who this is?
I wish I could get Alex Jones to.
Are you turning the frog gay, bro? Are you keeping babies alive?
But they live among us, man. Why do you think they won't let anybody in Area 51?
Because it's a military installation, you fuck.
It's a top secret one, though. So there's got to be aliens.
Hey, Jeremy.
What?
Do you know around the United States and probably around the world how many military bases there are that the public doesn't even know about?
Oh, there's probably a shit ton.
Well, why do you think we're not allowed in Area 51 then?
Because it's Area 51. There's aliens there.
Okay, the aliens aside, which I totally, like I said, I believe in aliens. Aliens aside, we don't even know where probably the majority of these places are. So why would they house them in one that the whole world knows about?
Because they're just going to flaunt it in front of our faces. If you try to get in there, you're going to die.
Did you want to go there back in September when they were going to storm it?
Fuck no.
It's not the answer I was looking for, but at least you're truthful.
You surprised me with that answer. I thought you were going to say, fuck yeah.
I mean, I probably would just to watch people get shot, but that's the sadistic part of me.
Have you ever been to Area 51?
I've been near it.
But, like, how near it?
Dude, it was that long-ass road trip I took with my grandparents when I was
Was
younger.
that the horse?
Fuck you and the fucking horse.
I didn't even know they had Meyer in Nevada.
I fucking hate you both.
One of those desert fires.
Y'all can go fuck yourselves. I'm stopping the recording.
But seriously, Jeremy, how close did you get? Did you get close enough to see, like, the trucks on the hills?
No, we went... I'm trying to remember where we took. It's hard not having a fucking computer right now. Besides the laptop.
Did you pass through the town of Rachel?
Like I said, dude, that was like almost 20 years ago.
Were you even alive?
Yeah, I'm 27.
Were you with Guro when this happened?
I fucking hate you.
Jeremy's got that Benjamin Button disease.
Got that Benjamin Button?
He's really 106. He's been around for years.
Well, you look good, kid.
Julianne can hear you. Shh.
Sorry, who?
Julianne, my fiance.
Oh. My mic, it cut out.
Yeah, because Skype fucking sucks.
You know what doesn't suck?
You, unfortunately.
Alien.
How do we know, though? You know?
Well, so I'm going to get a little off topic, but I think it's important. Do you know what a worldview is?
I'm just going to say no, because I think I do, but I want you to tell me anyway.
Okay, so everyone has a worldview. You grow up, you're raised in a certain family, a certain area of the world, a certain time during history. Your external stimuli, everything that you're seeing, everything that you are smelling, eating, hearing, doing, saying, becomes a pair of goggles that you look through. So, like, for an example, you have people in the Amazon rainforest, indigenous tribes. Their worldview, if you were to have a conversation with them, they wouldn't not only not give a fuck about politics, they wouldn't know what politics are. It's not a part of their worldview. You could probably talk to them about aliens, and they wouldn't understand what you're talking about. They may think that you're talking about maybe a shooting star or something. They have a worldview where they hunt, they gather, they sleep, they eat, they fuck, they shit. That's their whole life. That's their worldview. That's the only thing that they think about. That's the only thing that concerns them. That's their entire world. If you were to even tell them that they are in a place called the Amazon rainforest, they probably wouldn't understand what that means. Because they probably call it something else. But then you have you. You're concerned about other things. You have a job. You have a certain political standing. You want to have a podcast to talk about aliens. You know for a fact that if you go into a store and you take something without stealing, you know that that's against the law. You know that it's morally wrong. You know that if somebody murders somebody, you know that that's wrong. You know that if you, say, stay up too late on a podcast, you're gonna wake. You know that it's bad for you. You're gonna wake up and you're gonna feel a little groggy in the morning. Like your worldview, obviously bigger than someone from the Amazon rainforest, but your worldview is different. Everybody's worldview is different. So, like, I will take, you could use religious people as a perfect example of a worldview. They have a completely different worldview from, say, a scientist who specializes in evolution. Completely different worldview. So it's a worldview. Everyone has it. Nobody can escape it. It's how you perceive everything around you. What were we talking about?
Well, you said aliens suck, and I said, how do you know? And then we talked about the worldview.
This is what I get for going off on a tangent.
So I think we went from aliens. Either you insulted Jeremy or Jeremy insulted himself, and then we said aliens suck, and I said, well, how do you know? Or aliens don't suck, rather, and you said, I said, how do you know? So, I wonder if aliens are, go ahead.
I know what it was. Thank you, Jacoby.
That's right.
You had posed the question, well, how do we know? And so it made me think, well, it all depends on your worldview. So when it comes to a worldview, there's two different kinds of truths. There's three, but the third doesn't matter because there's something called the political truth. I don't want to talk about because I'm not political. But there's two truths to any worldview, to any person. There is an objective truth, which is something that's true whether you like it or not. So in this case, there's a video of an unidentified flying object. That's an objective truth. It's on video from the military. Our government has responded to it and said, hey, this shit is real, whether you like it or not. But then there's a personal truth, a second truth. There's a personal truth. There are people who are going to see this objective truth, which is, oh, there's a video of something flying through the fucking air that defies physics, known physics. They based on their worldview, they may take a personal truth out of that and say, it's gonna be aliens. It's aliens. They're here.
They live among us.
Yeah. Trust me, there's people that believe.
They're turning the frogs gay, man.
They're turning the frogs gay, man. No, but anyways, so how do we know? Because with everything so for me personally, everything in my life, everything that I observe, any bit of information that I gather with my brain, I always try to look at it through an objective truth view. Objectively. So I think it's super important for people who are trying to figure life out to look at things objectively, not with personal convictions. I mean, not to say that those things are not important. Those things are incredibly important. Personal truths are they're 50% of why the human experience is fucking awesome. Because personal truth is what kind of makes everybody different.
Yeah.
Because even though everybody's different, there's still an objective truth out there that is real, whether you believe it or not. So, like, for me, this whole UFO phenomena, I will never say, oh yeah, dude, fucking aliens, they're the Greys, or they're the reptilian lizard people from Planet X. Like, that would be a personal truth based on something that maybe has evidence, but doesn't have an objective scientific proof to say yes or no. So I will forever ever say, hey, based on just sitting back and looking at the actual facts that are real, whether you believe it or not, there is a huge possibility, with so many zeros, I don't even know how many, there's a huge possibility that there's something else out there.
We gotta have you on here more often. I learn a lot when you come on.
Well, I'm available every Friday. I said all of that because I'm like actually extremely curious. What do you guys think and why? Because I think that needs to be discussed, which is really fucking cool that the government actually took a stand and said, you know what? We have to fucking talk about this for a second. And you know what kills me is that nobody fucking cared. You can ask my significant other. I was sitting on the couch when I saw this shit on like the news feeds, and I shut the TV off. Because we were like both sitting on the couch watching a show. I like shut the TV off, and she was like, "What's the matter with you?" And I was like, "Why isn't anybody talking about this right now?" I was like, why am I seeing how there's a shortage of masks in a random state, which obviously is important. Please don't at me. But why is nobody talking about that? Dude, it literally took, I have to say, it took 24 hours for people to start talking about this shit. And it wasn't released on fucking like a subreddit. This shit was on CNN, BBC, New York Times, all the bit, Fox, everything. It was like, hey, this is the daily news, and everybody who saw it was like, give a fuck about aliens? When can we go buy seeds? Like, that's what everybody was concerned. That just blew my mind. But I'm like, anyways, I'm super curious as to what you guys think of this shit and why. And it's, you know what? There's plenty of people that I've met, because like I said, the majority of my life, I thought that aliens, there was no possibility. I never thought about it until I started seeing things with like an open mind. But I'm super curious what you guys think. And if you don't know why you believe what you believe, I mean, that's fine, because I think it's a perfectly normal thing for people to be confused about things that they don't fully understand.
That's a good point. You're like I said, you're a really smart dude. You're probably one of the smartest guys I know. And
that is way too kind, but thank you.
I mean, we have some really stupid conversations. Don't get me wrong. For the most part, you're a pretty smart dude with his own opinions that are, I guess they fall in line with mine for the most part, because I usually agree with you. But I feel that a lot of people would end up agreeing with you. So, Jeremy, I'll start with you. I got a couple points written down, and we don't need to hit them all. It doesn't really matter. You said well, give me your stance on aliens again, just so we can move on from that.
I believe there's aliens out there. Like I said, I don't know where the hell they're coming from, if they're even here already or what. I mean, I do believe there's something out there.
How familiar are you with the phenomenon of UFOs and aliens?
Not very.
Like, are you familiar with Roswell at all?
The Air Force Base?
No, more specifically with UFOs, like the crash site and all the sightings there.
No, not at all.
Okay. So, just very quick background, Jesse, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I did minimal research. I really based it off of what I knew as a kid. But in 1947, there was a crash of a silver metallic, I guess you would call it, disc. that supposedly, from certain people released later, had actual beings taken off in trucks out of the ship, and the ship was confiscated and taken by the military to Area 51, but that would quickly be called a weather balloon and debunked by the National Weather Service and the U.S. Army and all these other military, the Navy, everybody. I think everybody jumped on and said that it was a weather balloon, everybody that had to do with the government. Years after that is, and I might be wrong again, but I feel like that was like, the years after that was when sightings spiked everywhere. And I knew they were around before then, but I mean, they like hit a point where they've never gone before, almost, which I hate to bring it back, and I'm so sorry to both of you, but almost kind of like the Bigfoot thing when it jumped up in the 60s, and then all the way until today, it's like random years it'll spike out of nowhere, and everybody sees this fucking thing running around the woods. But yeah, so in 47, this metallic disc crashed in Roswell, New Mexico. The government covered it up quickly, whether it was truth or not truth, nobody really knows except the people that were there. Said it was a weather balloon, and then really started the whole Area 51 phenomenon and controversy pretty much from that day forward.
Okay, I just got one thing.
Yes.
So, you said this disc, weather balloon, whatever the fuck it is, you said there was beings in it, correct?
Supposedly, that's what people have said, that they've witnessed them being taken off. Now, most of those have come from ex-military and guys that supposedly were there at the retrieval site as well as working at Area 51, so take that with a grain of salt or however you want to take that, but that was everything that I'm familiar with anyway.
So you proved my point from earlier when I said aliens are at Area 51.
Yeah, that's like the main controversy with that Air Force base, or with that base for sure, that there's either craft there, legit bodies there, or both.
I just want to make sure my point was taken earlier.
No, you're good. I remembered it. I was leading myself back into the Air Force base, but I wanted to ask you and Jesse about Roswell and just get your opinions, because I mean, I don't know, I think it's the most famous UFO case to date until like the gimbal video and what the Pentagon just released, but
the biggest issue that I have, okay, so like, you have an incident like Roswell, huge incident, still one of like the absolute biggest incident of the UFO phenomenon. It's like where it all fucking started. But there's so much BS surrounding it that it's hard to know how credible the entire story is. So like the perfect example for me that I like to use is the alien autopsy. It was in 1995. There was an alien autopsy video, like a found footage that was released, and it sparked the whole, holy shit, there was actual beings. They worked on them. They were dead, but they worked on them. They dissected them. There was, some shitty, VHS-esque type video film. Well, so that was released by a guy. His name was Ray Santilli. He was a video entrepreneur from London at the time, and the guy, he released it. It caused like a literal international fucking craze about UFOs, because it was like, holy shit, this is found footage from the military, from forgive me, I forgot the year of the Roswell crash, but it was like, this is actual fucking video of beings from Roswell. Well then, in 2006, Santilli 100% admitted that everything was a reconstruction. Oh, but don't worry, it was based off of actual events where all the evidence for that is lost.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with that. I remember his reading about his account that my video was faked, but it did exist. But the tapes don't exist because they're locked away somewhere or they were destroyed. Which, if something like that truly happened, I think that's bullshit because they have them somewhere.
The easiest fucking lie to tell is going to be one that where you can't really be proved wrong or right. It's just like, hey, this shit happened and there's no fucking way for you to find out whether or not it's fake or true.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, well, that's kind of an easy way out. But, like, based on that and the whole Roswell craze, they even have a fucking term for it. Roswellian syndrome. It's hard for me to, like, watch documentaries on this or, like, look up videos of Roswell shit because it's like, okay, so something 100% crashed into the earth. And our government was like, nope, it's all good. It's a weather balloon. It's nothing to worry about. Everybody stop freaking the fuck out. And everyone's like, fucking aliens! But it's like, okay, so was it just a fucking weather balloon? Because I don't know what other evidence there was, like actual documented evidence besides the actual crash. Because if you look at all the people that they ended up, there was like 300 plus people that they interviewed, you know, like different agencies or different journalists and things like that, that they interviewed for the Roswell incident. But like 60-70% of those 300 people ended up just retelling a story that they had heard from someone else.
Right.
So it's like even all the interviews and shit of all these people like, oh yeah, I was there. And it was like, no, you weren't. Your fucking neighbor down the street that you hated told you while he was watering his dirt when he was in, you know, it was a desert. So it's like, you know, he's out watering his cactus or whatever and he told you the story and you're like, shit, I'm going to go to the bar and tell this story myself. And then it's like, there's so much disinformation. It's like I almost feel like the government didn't have to give disinformation because the public did it themselves. They kind of, in my view, they ruined the fucking story. There's so much disinformation on Roswell that it's like, well, now we don't even know what the fuck to believe.
It makes sense. I mean, it totally makes sense in where you're coming from.
If you look at the actual objective truth of Roswell, it's like, hey, something flew out of the fucking sky and landed in Roswell. But that's really it. I mean, unless there's... Now, I'm not a fucking expert on Roswell. I 6,000% have the Wikipedia page for Roswell pulled up right now because I want to make sure I know what I'm saying is actually, you know, real. But I don't know everything about it, but I feel like for what I do know about it, I feel like the public kind of ruined Roswell for everybody.
Yeah. Now, I have a crazy... Well, in my opinion, it's a little crazier because I've heard it very, very rarely. One of the things I found about Roswell was this guy came up with a theory of stories he's heard passed down through the family of military workers that Roswell most likely was a craft from overseas that came into our airspace and was shot down by, obviously, our defense system. Is that something you've heard of?
I have, but not like the context of that actual story. I didn't know who was telling that story, where it came from. I just knew that that was a theory of the Roswell incident. But I didn't know too much about it, though.
The only thing I gotta say about that is, wouldn't the military confirm that they shot something down in that case?
Well, you gotta remember the time period. World War II ended in 1945. This happened in 47. So, realistically, the bigger part of that is, well, one reason why people can believe it is they didn't want to just tell the public, hey, we had an enemy airplane above us. Who knows what they were carrying or what they had. but we shot it down. One was you don't want to cause mass panic to think we're getting into another war when we just got out of one.
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's really like the whole thing is it's all about controlling the public. I mean, they still do it to today.
Well, so based on what I know historically about military powers during that time, you think about what Nazi scientists were coming up with. There's, all kinds of actual evidence that shows that Nazis were coming up with, or they were engineering, basically, certain aircraft that resembled saucers. Like, that's like a fact. Well, in 1945, I don't know how much you know about Operation Paperclip.
Zero.
Which is like a podcast in itself. Shit's crazy. But Operation Paperclip happened July 20th, 1945. Operation Paperclip, on the American perspective, the American government pulled like 1,000 Nazi scientists from Germany to have them work for us, basically. So, along with that, you should definitely look into Operation Paperclip. It's declassified information. It was brought to the public eye, I believe, in the 80s. So it's an actual documented real thing. It's something that did happen. It was between 1945 and 1959, where German scientists were exclusively helping. So I just looked it up just to get the actual number. It's 1,600 German scientists and engineers who were helping the American government with science, basically. Because it's no secret that Nazi scientists were incredibly, not only crazy, but they were incredibly smart people.
Yeah.
They had very advanced knowledge on science, all different types of disciplines of science. But anyways, we pulled all these guys over here and said, hey, instead of going to jail, you're going to work for us. There was only one Nazi leader that we actually, I don't think we put him in prison, but we deported his ass because he had really bad juju under his belt, like Holocaust type shit.
Oh,
and we got rid of him. You'll forgive me, I don't remember his name because I don't know. I can't remember his name, but like a very extremely well-known Nazi scientist that came here from Operation Paperclip was Werner von Braun. He exclusively was behind NASA, the creation of NASA. Every trip to the moon, most of the earlier trips into space were because of this man. He worked exclusively with Disney in its infancy, and he was like the chief science officer, like basically, what do those people call? What are they called? What are they called when you use them? Like, hey, are we doing this shit right? When they're making movies, what are they called? Like an advisor?
Yeah, I mean an advisor. I know what you're talking about. I don't know the exact term.
Science advisor for Disney for many years. This is actual, like, truth. This is something that's completely open to the public. It's not hidden whatsoever from the government. So anyways, like, not only do you have the U.S. polling Nazi scientists during this time, but you also have the Russians did the same thing on a much smaller scale.
Right.
Because when Germany surrendered, it was literally a tug of war between the United States and Russia, literally trying to get, I hate using the word best when it comes to Nazis, but they wanted the smartest Nazis. I feel like they don't deserve the word best, but they wanted the smartest Nazis, and fortunately for us, the United States was able to get over 1,600 of these motherfuckers. The Russians got way less than we did. But who's to say, because now remember what I said earlier, I try to look at everything with objectivity, always. Sometimes it's boring, because I can never come up with a conclusion. But maybe this thing that crashed, based on what you just said, because I didn't really know much about it, maybe this was something created by scientists over in Russia, and it flew over here.
That could have been.
It could have been. That's what sometimes sucks about the actual truth, is sometimes we'll never know. Like, I said this to a friend of mine 2 days ago. We were having a discussion on, is morality real? Like, is it a real thing or is it man-made? And I told him, because I shit you not, we talked about this for 3 fucking hours. That's how bored I am during quarantine. At the end of the 3-hour conversation, it literally went from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. I looked at him and I said, you know what? I said, the universe and everything in it is under zero obligation to make sense to us. There's nothing in nature that says it has to make sense. The only reason why things make sense is because we continually, progressively look for meaning behind everything. So it could be 10,000 years from now, and we could still not have a fucking clue what the truth is behind Roswell. Because sometimes shit just happens, and we'll never fucking figure it out.
You remember when I said you're a pretty smart dude?
I do.
Yeah, I've never thought of it like that.
Well, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're a pretty fart smeller.
So I always tell people that, like, when people get frustrated, or like when, say, you're in like school and you're having a rough time with something that just really sucks, I always tell them, like, hey, guess what? Shit don't have to make sense to you. You gotta fucking figure it out and hope that you get it. It's hard work. That's all you gotta do behind it. You're failing in a subject. Well, guess what? It's not gonna get easier unless you work harder. So, but that's beside the point.
No, that makes sense.
I wonder what would happen if I were to smoke weed ever. That would probably be really bad.
Well, if you're the opposite of Jeremy, it would be okay.
Ha 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 ha! Fuck you.
This is a discussion that I always have with people when I like get into deep conversations. Because some people will say, like, man, I wish I had like some weed right now. I'll be like, God, what would fucking happen if I was like not in a sober mind during a deep conversation? That would be bad.
Does alcohol do the same thing?
So it is not a secret. Well, if it was, it's not anymore right now. When I was on the podcast last week, I did drink, which I think I actually said that.
You did.
I had rum and Coke. So I have to drink when I have a conversation like this because it allows me to relax, because I'm naturally not very talkative, which is 100% not believable right now. But normally I'm very closed off in a social setting. I'm kind of like a recluse. So,
All right.
But yeah, I have no idea if alcohol does the same thing. 'Cause I've never smoked weed. I have no idea what it does.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, okay, Jeremy. No, you just eat it.
So, Jeremy, you want to enlighten us at all?
What?
You want to enlighten us at all? Jeremy, you're our Cheech here, okay?
Oh my lord.
You are the Cheech of this
You're a
podcast.
very beautiful Cheech.
No, I am not.
An objective truth. Jeremy and I are totally gay for each other. It's true whether you like it or not.
Being that it's 2020, there's nothing wrong with that.
Did you actually give your opinion on Roswell? I can't remember because that was like an hour ago.
You talking to me, or are you talking to Cheech over there? Okay. As a kid, I thought, oh yeah, like the rest of the world, it's aliens. It's got to be aliens, because I do believe there's something out there. Not necessarily that there's 3 foot, 4 foot tall gray beings with giant skulls flying around space looking for things.
I don't know why I was hoping you were going to say that they had giant dicks flying around.
They might, but all the pictures I've seen, they don't have any.
Dicks.
So
Maybe they're just
so no.
retractable.
A retractable dick? Alright, anyways, Jake, yeah, you can continue, I guess.
Anyway, let's get off Jeremy's dick for a second.
Please don't. I mean, what?
So, I think the Roswell, more realistically, was probably some sort of craft. I totally can see it being from overseas, whether it was Russia, Germany, wherever it came from. But I think it may have even been one of ours that might have malfunctioned, and it could have been a cover-up that way. One, to not, scare the public of, well, I guess not really scare, but I guess not let out their secret of the military's testing new technology for that time. I mean, it was the 40s. We were still, they weren't flying planes that long, to be honest with you. So, being a silver disc flying around the sky, I think that would have just freaked the public out to no end. But I think the whole weather balloon thing was a cover-up in case that reached overseas media. I don't think they wanted people to know that the U.S. is messing with new technology either.
But if it was a disc, or a disc type, like shape, do we even have the technology to have something float like that? Like excluding a balloon?
I don't know. Could we? I mean, they say we don't have it now, but is that true?
Did we even have helicopters back then? Because I feel like the only thing we had back in that day, I feel like the only thing that we had was like just a regular engine. I don't even think the fucking jet was made yet. A jet engine.
When was this?
47.
No, we didn't have helicopters. We only had planes, and they were propeller planes.
We have a helicopter that was flown in 42, was the first one listed here.
Yeah, but they probably weren't like mass produced like they were.
Well, no, I'm saying that's for the Army, though. That's for the United States military helicopters. The first one they recognize is 1942.
Huh.
Now, I'm not saying they used it in combat, but they had it available to them 5 years before this happened. And that's just what they released as recognized. To be honest, I'm real big at, on certain things, I'm a huge conspiracy theorist, but I gotta believe that they had that technology before 42. I'm willing to bet that they just released it at that time. But when I started listening to what you were saying about it was kind of a race to get the most developed German scientist after the war was over, in my own opinion, it kind of helped thrill my thing of if the Germans had that and the U.S. was able to get with some of these scientists, or a lot of them, however many they had at the time, do you think they could quickly produce a technology, and that was possibly a test flight of some sort that ended up crashing, malfunctioning somehow, and it led to that?
Yeah, but and if you look at the technology, that's anti-gravity technology. That's something that defies 100% of our known physics.
Right.
So it's like Germans were fucking smart as shit. Were they that smart though? Because
were they?
Lose a fucking war. So are they that smart?
I get real confused on it when I start to think about it, because there are things that I've read that you can find, and it's not like it's from a credible news source or anything, but there's things that have been released, blueprints supposedly of designs that the Germans already had this back when World War II was going. They had the idea for anti-gravity and were messing with that technology.
If you look at how let's just use a standard UFO, a flying saucer. If you were to look at how it's able to have flight, you can recreate let's say, an invisible movement of force with magnetic force. So you can technically float an object through the air if you have a strong enough opposite magnet below it. You know what I mean? But it has to be on the ground. And it's like, okay, what would move that?
Yeah.
So, but it's totally possible to have technically like anti-gravity properties with the use of magnets, but that's not really like applicable. You can't really apply that to something that could move around in a three-dimensional space. Two-dimensional, maybe you could make a magnetic car that could float off the ground. That's totally could be real. You could totally do that. I'm sure one day Elon Musk will do that. But something that could move three-dimensional, I don't feel like that's that. Like as of right now, I don't feel like that could even happen, unless there's a technology out there that we just are not made aware of. That the government is hiding it. Put on your tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, because I'm not a really big conspiracy theorist. It's hard for me to be a conspiracy theorist because I feel like it's sometimes easy to just call, or not even call bullshit, but define bullshit. Just be like, it's fucking bullshit.
Right. No, I understand.
A lot of conspiracy theories that are like, okay, like this might actually be true. But I would never consider myself a conspiracy theorist, though, because I never jump to conclusions. I don't like doing that.
Right. I was just looking at pictures of whatever I can find on the crash, and maybe one of you, or both of you could find better ones. I can't find any of the actual, like, crash site that's credible looking. The only ones I can find are this military guy with the shiny, whatever it is, material in, like, a room. I can't even find any of being out in the desert right now. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong spot. But basically where I was going with that was it was reported as a disc shape. But I've never read an account of somebody actually seeing it crash. The only thing I saw was the guy that owned the ranch, or at least somewhere near there, said that he saw this thing flying through the sky and fall to the ground, and then he saw smoke. Of course, this is getting like way, way out there, but
Yeah.
if nobody saw it, is it possible that it wasn't technically anti-gravity? It may have had some kind of engine on it that when it crashed, it dislodged or burned up or whatever you want to call it. I don't know.
He may have maybe misconstrued something falling out of the fucking sky.
Right.
Just thought, it's fucking flying. I don't know.
I guess that could be a better way to explain it if you're trying to rationally look at it. Obviously, if you want to just say, yeah, it was an alien craft, then there's going to be those people that they just have that opinion. You're never going to stop that.
Right.
Yeah, I can't find anything other than what you just said you saw.
Yeah, when I looked it up, I didn't see anything, like any pictures.
No, I don't, and that's a bigger thing for me. Is like there was some sort of cover-up. Was it necessarily a cover-up because it didn't come from this world, or was it a cover-up because the military was either working on something or they shot something out of the sky?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of like inclined to believe a few different stories with that because, like I said, with that particular incident, there's so much misinformation that it's just like, okay, well, I'm just going to be on the sidelines on this one until I die,
I understand. That's a hard one. Roswell specifically is very hard for me because I have so many different opinions. I believe it's totally possible it could have been an alien, but the rational side of me thinks that it was, like I said, either a test gone wrong or a defense of something in our airspace that wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the unidentified submerged craft?
I'm so happy you just brought that up. Jeremy, you can talk before me, but I had that written down as one of my points.
I have zero idea whatever the fuck that is.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't really know too much about that shit. So remember the other day? Oh, it was actually when I sent you the link for BBC on the UFO videos, and then you had said, "Hey, on Joe Rogan's podcast, they talked to the pilot who is connected to that video." So I actually went and watched that video. So thank you for telling me about that. I actually listened to that 3.5 hour fucking interview twice. Not, but I listened to it twice because I like taking notes when I listen to podcasts, especially about when there's so much information. Because I like to go back and like look at like what did he say about blah blah blah. So I listened to it twice, and he mentions in that interview, it's sadly only for like 5 minutes. Probably not even that. How there's a lot of stories out there of UFOs underwater, and I was like, whoa. I was like, wait a minute. I was like,
Yeah.
For me, that piqued my interest because I am 100% terrified of deep water. I don't like it. I actually jumped into a lake for the first time in my life 2 years ago.
Pussy.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. It's okay.
I totally
Jake,
deserve that title.
Never
Water.
mind.
I have been, ever since I was a little kid, if I cannot see the bottom of whatever body of water I'm in, I cannot go in it. I will not go in it. I'm too afraid. I have like a phobia of it. Well, there may have been alcohol involved 2 years ago, and I jumped into a lake. Totally regret it, because I did not have a good time. But anyways, when he was talking, and you saw that interview as well. What was that guy's name? Farver? No.
It was
Farva?
I'll shout it out because God, if this reaches Joe Rogan, first of all, my prayers have been answered, and second of all, I don't think he'll get mad for me shouting him out. It's Joe Rogan Experience, episode 1361. It's Commander David Fravor.
Fravor, that's his name. So he mentions, he's describing what it looked like rising up to the surface, just this black mass, and that scared the fuck out of me because I'm like, yep, that's why I don't go in the water. There's UFOs in the water now.
I will tell you. Well, first I have a question. He was, to your memory. He was off the coast of California, correct?
I thought that was.
I believe they were off the coast of California, somewhere between like Malibu and San Diego.
40. I thought he said 40 miles, maybe, and I know that's not correct, but it was. There's two numbers. It's 40 miles or 70 miles off of the coast.
Okay.
Of California.
I'm sitting at work a couple weeks ago, and me and one of my coworkers were talking about that episode because she's super into UFOs and that phenomenon as well. So we're over there looking down the coastline, and I'm looking at this on my phone right now, right outside of Malibu. And I know this it probably has nothing to do with this; it's just kind of coincidental. Right outside of Malibu in the Pacific Ocean, if I zoom in on my Google Maps, there is a very large, I don't even want to take a guess on how many miles this stretches, but of a blacked out part of the satellite picture in the middle of the ocean. And it's nowhere else, anywhere, like I'm going up and down the coastline, it's only in this one spot. There's a black bar.
Where is this at?
They don't want you to see it.
It's right outside of Malibu.
What the fuck is
Like-
Malibu?
Jeremy, go look at fucking Los Angeles and Long Beach and zoom in, and you'll see Malibu to the west.
I don't even know where the fuck that is anymore. Oh, there it is.
I'm not gonna lie, I pulled it up because I'm like, yeah, this fucking guy just isn't letting his page load all the way. But yeah, it's not. It's
I hit the wrong button.
Jesse,
That's
is yours visible or no?
Huh?
Like, do you see the water or do you see the black bar?
There's a black bar.
Is there? Now, what do you have? Do you have an iPhone? Do you have a Samsung?
I am on a Samsung tablet.
Okay. Oh, so you're even on a tablet. Okay.
Yeah. Surface Pro. Yeah, it's good shit. You should buy one.
So how far out is this?
It's like right on the coast.
22 feet.
Jeremy, if it's there, you'll be able to see it. Just zoom in on Malibu and it's going to pop up.
Coast of Malibu and my ass.
Oh yeah. But I mean, if you zoom out a little bit, it's like looks just like water.
Yeah, but my point is if you zoom in, you can see waves and then there's a black fucking bar there.
That's weird.
So, I mean, sorry to track off a little bit, but yeah, when I heard that, I immediately went to the coastline for whatever reason, because I was like, well, where are they flying at? I'm not that familiar with California. And I came across this, and I was like, whoa, there is a UFO mothership in the Pacific Ocean.
It's about to be Independence Day in this bitch.
That's a big statement, though. Like, not even a UFO, it's like the mothership.
That's a big fucking bar.
Or is it just a glitch?
In the Matrix?
No. Like a technological glitch.
You want me to think rationally? Yes, it's just a glitch. It doesn't load. Do you want me to think in the mindset of this podcast? It's the mothership.
Well, why wouldn't it load for all three of us on 3 different devices?
Now you're only back in the mothership theory.
I'm doing it objectively, though. I'm not saying it's a fucking mothership. No, you know what? I'm not saying it's a mothership. Fuck it. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying we're never gonna fucking find out. So drop it.
Jimmy, you're on a Samsung Galaxy, correct?
Yeah.
And GSC was on a Samsung tablet, and I am on my iPhone, and they're all blacked out.
It's not like blacked out. It's just.
It's not.
Listen, I'm not looking for is it black or is it gray. It's a blacked out.
No, I mean, not really. I mean, it's just like a darker blue.
Why you gotta be that guy, Jeremy?
Jeremy, zoom in all the way and tell me what you see.
It gets black, of course. I mean, the further you get, it's going to get blurry, too.
Now, why would it just get black when the rest of the water's still blue?
Not all the water is blue, though.
Take a screenshot on your phone.
Jake.
Yes.
Are you on, like, maps?
I am on my app of maps on the iPhone, but it's run by Google.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up Google Earth, which is a little bit different, and I'm going to pull up between 2D and 3D view, and I'm going to see what it does.
Okay. I just sent you both the picture. I know you've already seen it on your own, but, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't have that.
What do you have?
I don't have anything there.
That is exactly what I have on my tablet right now.
Alright, so.
Yeah, yours is different.
Yeah, I don't have the big ass black box.
Hey, yours actually says coronavirus. Mine does not. I have a black box, and when I zoom in, it gets blacker.
Yeah, I don't have that at all.
And why does mine say Santa Monica Bay in 2 spots at the same time?
Coincidence? I think not. It's the aliens that live among us, and they're turning the frogs gay.
No. We're turning the frogs gay.
Nope, the aliens are now.
Why is it when I zoom in on the top right corner, there's a picture of E.T.?
What?
I'm going to Photoshop that in there and contact Google.
But yeah, no, I don't have any of that black bar or anything.
So, I can talk a little bit. I don't want to give too much away because I'm still so far away. But I know Jeremy's familiar with it. Jesse, I know you're familiar with my my project I'm working on, trying to add more content to our page. I think our next one's going to have to be a trip out west to Area 51.
Ooh, maybe we could get shot.
We might have to, but before then, we're going to have to take that horse.
You know what? This was a great podcast today, boys. I think it's time to end it.
Jeremy, I'm telling you, man. All right, we're planning. I already got the trip for up north planned, as long as everything goes through correctly. And then I'll plan the trip out west. All you have to do is wrangle that horse and bring it with us.
You know what, motherfucker?
Now, I don't know how you're going to steal it from Meyer, but that's not my problem. That's yours.
You're a pain in the ass. I hope you know that.
You know, they let batteries and sunglasses slide, but a horse? I don't know.
Hey.
You might have to buy it.
Anyways.
Hey, Jeremy.
What?
Is your horse's name Uncle?
No.
Okay.
Why?
You want to make sure you weren't riding your uncle, dummy.
Yeah. I just wanted to know what it was like to ride Uncle.
And on that note, anyways, let's wrap this up.
So yeah, underwater UFOs, no? We're done with that?
I don't know. Apparently, we're going to have to make a part 2 of this, because there's a lot more to talk about.
That's fine.
So, yeah, I was just kind of hoping that, Jeremy would be like, yeah, bro, I was in my bathtub one time. Fucking thing just came out of nowhere, but it ended up being a turd. But it didn't happen, so I was just going to, for a good story. Because I don't have an underwater UFO story. I don't even like water.
Can you swim at least?
I can, because I don't want to ever drown.
Yeah, someone else in this call right now can't swim, so.
Oh, dude, let me tell you about this one time, though.
At band camp?
No, it's the reason I'm afraid to swim.
You're afraid to swim?
Yeah. I know that sounds weird, but yeah. It's all off of this one thing. It's going to scar me for life, and I'm terrified of water. I'm kind of like you. I don't like water, period, but I definitely don't like deep water. So, I was up north this one time, and I was pretty young, but we go to this lake that's not too far from the cabin, and I get out there, and I've never taken swim lessons, so I'm wading through the water.
What were you waiting for?
Probably a shark to come up and just take my life.
Hey,
I
man.
wasn't enjoying it.
Funny because there's bull sharks in the Great Lakes.
That's
No, there is not.
for another episode.
Yes, there is.
No,
They
there
were
isn't.
12 years ago, you fuck.
There was. You're made of spare parts, aren't you, bud?
Yeah. A lot of them. They were in there, dude. Okay, you know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna call you after this podcast. I'm gonna tell you about how there's bull sharks in fresh water.
No, there isn't. They're fresh. They're saltwater animals.
You fucking beautiful fuck. Dude, bull sharks can and are in fresh water.
No, they're not.
Real thing.
No, they're not.
Oh my god.
Jeremy, I don't normally like to call you an idiot, but however many people are listening to this are calling you an idiot right now.
Sharks do not exist in fresh water.
Yes,
Bull
they
sharks
do.
do.
No, they don't.
Bull sharks adapted to do this.
No, they
traveled
didn't.
Over my
the Mississippi River. How did you not know about this?
They did not.
They were in the fucking Great Lakes, bro.
No, they weren't.
Ugh.
Anyways.
While we're wrapping up, let me finish my fucking story since I was so cut off by you.
Yeah, because bull sharks actually don't exist in...
So, I'm wading through the water,
Okay.
and I'm getting up to, like, my neck area, and my chin's in the water now, and I'm like, well, damn, I don't know how deep this is going to get. So I start trying to, like, doggy paddle, and I'm trying to learn how to swim. Well, I feel something below me, and I shrug it off, and I'm like, it's got to just be seaweed. I'm trying not to panic, because I'm already panicked enough.
You're making me uncomfortable already.
I'm sorry. So I start walking back to the shoreline, and I feel this thing again. I'm like, God damn, maybe it's like a fish or something. I'm like, hopefully it's not a bull shark, because those are the only sharks that could be out here. But I was hoping it wasn't a shark. I was thinking it was like a fish or seaweed or something. So I'm getting out, and I get up to like my knee area, and I'm like, damn, I'm still feeling something. I'm thinking something's cut around my leg, and I get out, and all of a sudden, this man pops up behind me, and he said, "I'm sorry, man. I thought you were Jeremy. I'm his uncle. I was just looking for him."
God damn it!
Hey, get fucked, Jeremy. Bull sharks are in fresh water.
No, they're not, you fuck. I'm ending this recording. Y'all fucking follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Table Talk JJ. If you want to be on the show, fuck you. If you want to talk shit about me,
Hey, real quick, Jeremy, before we go.
fuck you.
I'm being serious. Do you have any closing statements?
Fuck you.
All right. Jeremy's mad at me.
I'm not mad
Before
at
we
you.
go, for real, on an ending note, thanks to our guest again, Jesse, for coming on. We're going to have to do a part 2 of this because he's pissed. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to have to do a part 2.
We're going to do a part 2, and then it's going to be... Half of that part 2 is going to be talking about how bull sharks can live in fresh water.
No, they can't!
Yes, they can. Oh.
Take the time real quick to let people know where they can find you on your social media and your YouTube page.
Okay, so if you want to see really, really educational, cool stuff, then you'd want to go on my Instagram, which is @thedemby. But if you want to see how offensive I can be, you can find me on YouTube at Big Whoop Magazine.
Jeremy, you still there?
Yeah. I'd hope so. I'm the one recording this.
That's true. You got anything to say, Jeremy? You don't even want to say thank you to Jesse for coming out here?
I mean, I'll always thank Jesse for coming out.
Oh, you're going to thank me all right when you get bit on the ass by a bull shark.
They don't live in fresh water. That's all I gotta say.
Oh,
You're more wrong than you think.
You're more wrong.
Thanks for joining us this week. We will see you next time where we're going to talk about bull sharks and finally educate Jeremy. For that, we're going to sign off. See you guys later.
Later.